Now we got everybody. Overwhelmingly, we chose C. Overwhelmingly, we got the correct answer. So you're going to be able to use and understand language a little bit better on one side of the brain than the other. Nice. 92%? I think that's only 2 people missing it. All right, last question. And I'm going to give a little extra time for this one as well because it's more process of elimination. Which of the following functions does the cerebellum not do? All right, time starts now. You're going to have up until I get up to the screen.
And we're waiting on 2 more. 1 more.
Okay, you got it. See what it said.
Okay. Most common answer, D. And most common answer was the correct answer. That's done by the brain stem. You get the correct answer. All right, that's pretty good. Okay. Pull out notes number 4. You started that last class. Raise your hand if you do not have notes 4, and I'll pass it out.
You follow Jeffrey on
Anybody else missing this?
Jeffrey. Oh, you talking about Jeffrey? Jeffrey. Don't you have lunch with us? He didn't come to the Well, I could have just got my phone. Oh, wait, so you have his phone? No, he has mine.
Okay. Go ahead and look on up to the board. We left off at the diencephalon, so we'll continue at the diencephalon as well. Diencephalon is kind of like in the middle part of your brain. So it's going to contain 3 major structures. The 3 major structures are going to be the thalamus, which you can kind of see up top right here. The hypothalamus, which is predictably, if it's the hypothalamus, is going to be below the thalamus, since hypo means below. And then lastly, connected to the hypothalamus is going to be the posterior pituitary. That's connected by a bunch of nerves that are there. The last one we're going to talk about is the pineal gland, and that's actually one of the things that's going to help you regulate your sleep cycle. So it produces a hormone that's going to make you really, really sleepy, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. It also is going to explain why when it's sunny outside, you tend to not be as sleepy as when it's like a cloudy day or at nighttime. I know it's not true for everybody, but for the most part, that's how it works. Yeah, Brianna.
So I know people like melatonin when you sleep, so that's what it produces?
Yeah. Yep, and that's going to be one of the notes down there. You already jumped it. Nice. First part or second part? All right. I'm going to jump on to talking about the thalamus. Okay. Let's get it started right here. So the thalamus is like the relay station for a bunch of different parts in the brain. So you might begin thinking something up in your parietal lobe. Let's just go with the lobe that's like on the top and the side of your brain. Say that you start thinking about some motion movement, right?
That usually starts up in the parietal lobe, and then what it would do is it's going to have a nerve, and it'll shoot on down to the thalamus, which relays that to the rest of the body. So it's like a nerve that goes from here down into the thalamus, and then the thalamus down into the rest of the body right there. The other thing it's going to do is it's going to help circadian rhythm. Does anybody know what circadian rhythm is? I've yet to get somebody to get this right.
Like somebody to stay on beat?
It is a rhythm, but it's not like staying on beat music. Circadian rhythm is really similar to what your pineal gland does. It is your sleep-wake cycle. So it's like same way that if you were a truck driver who works overnight, your sleep-wake cycle would be to be basically nocturnal, like you're awake at night and then you're asleep during the day. For most people, your circadian rhythm is like sleeping at night and then being awake during the day. It's just your sleep-wake cycle. Thank you. Yep. Okay. Alright. Let's talk about the hypothalamus and the posterior pituitary. The hypothalamus might be the most important part of your diencephalon. The reason it's so important is because it maintains homeostasis, and for some background on that, like when it's too hot outside or when it's too cold, your hypothalamus is basically going to determine like, okay, if it's too cold outside, I need to warm up my body somehow, I'll start shivering. If it's too hot outside, you're going to be like, well, I'm not moving at all because that's going to use more energy and it's going to make me even hotter. That's what your hypothalamus is going to help regulate, is like along with the body temperature. I'll get to your question in just a second. The other thing, and this is probably the part that you're going to remember more of by the end of the year, is the hypothalamus controls hormone production in the body. So it goes to both the anterior and the posterior pituitary. They're going to have different hormones that each of those produce, but the hypothalamus is going to control how it's done. So for example, the posterior pituitary produces something called aldosterone, and that is basically what determines if you have to use the bathroom or not. It's going to keep your water balance correct. So it's just an example of how the hypothalamus is going to control that posterior pituitary. Tiffany, what's your question?